I had the privilege of working at a wonderful holistic center. I kind of grew up in my career. It's called the Center for Holistic Medicine, and it's in Riverwoods and Deerfield in Chicagoland area. And first of all, I call out for Jerry Gore, Dr. Jerry Gore, MD. He's a holistic psychiatrist and homeopath. And I learned a lot of cool lessons and breathing and a lot of therapy from him, and I'm very grateful. In that practice, there was our practice manager and builder was Susan, and she brought to my attention a wonderful phrase, and that's, we have to learn to put the fun back in dysfunctional. We have to put the fun back in dysfunctional. And that dysfunctional it can be miserable or it can be wonderful. And it depends a lot on what mindset and how we go about dealing with dysfunctional situations. So in dealing with COVID-19 and stress, this is a very important skill. So many people are trapped at home, and it's not necessarily getting better. They say a second wave is coming and schools are starting to close again, the ones that are open. And I see in my practice, like we mentioned earlier, that this is actually harder, because when people thought, okay, I'm gonna get out of this in 6 months, they felt like they could handle it. But now, this is a new lifestyle? Forget it. That I can't do. And so the stress and pressure goes up. Now, what's dysfunctional? A lot of times families are very dysfunctional, and we react to each other and we get in fights, or we misunderstand each other. So putting the fun back in dysfunctional is very important. And how do we do that? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, we need to hear a song that when I was growing up, I grew up in Newport News, Virginia. And it's kind of a lower middle class place. And we'd go on road trips to like Nag's Head, where the sand dunes and beach were, and we would listen to these songs. There's a really funny folk musician named Barry Lewis Polisar, and he had a song album called Songs for Well-Behaved Children. The first song on there is called It's My Mother and My Father and My Sister and My Dog. It's about road trips. Here we go. We're riding in the car, we've been driving all day, you see. We're gonna see Grandma and Grandpa and my aunt, then two cousins I don't like. Playing with my friends, chilling right in my bike. Yeah. I'm in the backseat, wouldn't you know? My sister's crying in my ear. The radio's on, but it's Tommy's turn, and he plays what I don't wanna hear. Tommy's playing what I don't want to hear, and my sister's putting her finger in my ear, right? So this is like a classic road trip with the family. The first thing you do is get in the car, and you're like, okay, we're gonna make good time. And all of a sudden, a kid says, I gotta go to the bathroom. And you go to the bathroom. I'm thirsty. And then they get in a fight. And then the parents get frustrated. And then the parents lose their temper. And then the kids are miserable and complaining. And so on and so forth, right? I think that most people know about some form of this. And the thing is that those road trips can be wonderful, or they can be really miserable. Now, right now it's COVID-19, and we talked earlier in the earlier episode, number 9, about getting out and to the forest, to the beach, and you see people are starting to realize a good idea to travel. One of the psychologist friends I spoke to yesterday said, hey, I realized I have a practice with 25 therapists under me, but I'm doing everything virtual, so I can go out to Colorado and do my job. So you may be in that position, and you might have an opportunity to do a road trip. So what's the difference between a wonderful road trip where you put the fun back in dysfunctional, or a miserable road trip where you hang out in misery? We'll have to come up with something. You put Well, we'll figure it out later. So let's go on with a little more of the song.
We stop for a Coke, we stop for gas, we stop for something to eat. As soon as we start up again, my sister has to pee.
Yeah, exactly.
Daddy is mad, my mommy says this will be the last time. And travel is a way that means with us, but we know they'll change their minds. Oh, it's
My father and my sister and me.
my two little brothers
And me, we're going on a trip, we're driving in the car, we've been driving all day, it seems.
The road looks the same, the car is hot. The dog
But now you gotta put on your COVID mask in the car too, at the gas station.
in the ribs, Tommy has that kind of charm. I tell him that he better stop. He bites me on my rear, so I hold his nose and he bites.
So I tell Tommy he better stop, and he bites me on the ear, right? And then everything's going crazy in the car, and it's like escalating and avalanching down, 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 and this is the fun.
On my toes, I put my finger in his ear.
Everybody!
The dog starts barking, the sister laughs. Timmy jumps in the backseat. My father swerves, the car slams on its brakes. I want something to eat.
My father swerves and slams on the brake, and I want something to eat, right? Like the kid doesn't even realize they almost got in an accident, right? If you're a parent, you're like, I get that.
Everybody's yelling, mom's in tears. Timmy's got Tommy by the neck.
Everybody's yelling, mom's in tears, and Timmy's got Tommy by the neck. So I think you get the idea. I'd kind of like to do the whole thing, but maybe you don't want to hear the rest.
And then he throws up too. My mom thinks I'm gonna wreck.
Let's get a little further.
And my sister and the dog and my two
Little brothers and me. Come on, everybody, sing. Cheer yourself up.
were riding in the
Car, you've been driving all day, it seems.
Timmy and Tommy are on the back. The dog jumps in Daddy's lap. My mom is screaming, she's really mad. Dad's gonna have a heart attack. It's up to me to make them stop, but I don't know what to do. I try to pull them both apart. My sister hits him with her shoe.
My sister hits him with her shoe. I mean, this is one of those road trips for like 14 hours. Things are getting worse and worse. And that happens at home. One day, and it gets longer and harder, and everybody's getting worn out.
Oh, yeah, my two little brothers and me.
We're going on a trip, driving in the car. We've been driving all day, it seems.
It's my mother and my
Father and my sister and dog and the two little brothers and me. We're going on a trip, driving in the car. We've been driving all day, it seems. All right. So thank you, Barry Lewis Polisar, for coming up with that song. And you know, the lesson's right in that song. How much fun is it to sing about that craziness? That is a perfect example of putting the fun back in Dysfunctional. That is one of the most dysfunctional road trips I've ever heard about in a song, right? And he put the fun in it. He turned it into something that's entertaining and interesting. And so putting the fun back in Dysfunctional means that I switch my mindset to enjoy the chaos and enjoy the difficulty and enjoy. We're not talking about if a person's being abused or beat up or no. We're talking about regular, normal family and friendship dysfunction, work dysfunction, life dysfunction, whatever. On that level, right? Great COVID-19 tool for stress is enjoy the mess. It's the only way out of the stress. Enjoy the mess. It's the only way out of the stress. You got to put the fun back in Dysfunctional. So how's that work? You come home. Actually, you're already at home. You come out of your closet office into the living room, and your kids have made a giant mess because they were bored out of their mind. The Zoom didn't work on their school today. There's no dinner. They're cranky and bored. And you're like, oh my goodness. What is going on around here? And normal human effort, you want to control it. Guess what? Too bad. And so what happens next? You got to find a way to enjoy it, because without joy, we're not going to get anywhere. And therefore, you put the fun back in it. So instead of saying, what's going on in here? Guys, get up. Everybody, pick up right now. Yes, sir. Right? Instead, you need to put the fun back in dysfunctional. How? Hey, guys, oh my God, this is absolute chaos. Let's take a video. Pull out your iPhone, start filming it. You're like, whoa, look at that mess. Because one day you're gonna look back, hopefully, and laugh at this period. And so you can put the fun back into it. Make a joke, get down there and make a bigger mess. You know, have fun, make a joke about it. Doesn't mean you can't discipline them or make them clean it up later. But when you start by putting the fun back in dysfunctional, then it's going to be a lot more enjoyable. And we're going on the premise that you really can't get out of the situation anyways. You are trapped in this situation and there's nothing you can do. If you could do something, okay, do it. But if you can't, don't do it. Just put the fun back in dysfunctional. Remember, the only way out of the mess is to enjoy the stress. The only way out of the stress is to enjoy the mess. I guess it would work either way. But, you know, I realize that it's actually an opportunity to practice joy. And joy, as the Maharaj, the holy saintly teacher that I get to read, is a beautiful book called Positive Living. He says about joy in his essay on joy, that joy is like this. It's almost like it's like this laser that just like breaks through like all the negativity. And so, you know, realize that it's not a small thing. It sounds like a joke, but it's not a joke. You put and you blast through it, you're gonna get rid of the negativity and the stress of COVID-19. Don't give up too fast, like all good techniques. Don't expect it to work the first time. You need to do it a bunch of days in a row. And it's like a muscle, right? Go to the gym, you feel ridiculous the first day you come out of it. You keep going, the muscle gets stronger and stronger. And then you start to get some skill and ability, all right? So look in your workbook companion workbook, dysfunctional backwards, and you'll see that we have some of these quotes to remind you, put the fun back in dysfunctional, and you can just print that thing out and put it on cardstock, carry it around, put it up, look at it, you know, talk about it, write about it, and then you'll be able to internalize it better. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share this bonus episode with you. And let us know if this is helpful. Give us feedback on the Facebook, on the website, whatever. Have a beautiful week.